Hey everyone, it's Victoria. Welcome to today's video. I do want to mention really quick before we get started, forgive me if the lighting is crazy. My camera started doing something weird, so I had to mess around with the lighting and I'm still trying to perfect it. So let me know what you think, if it looks okay. I'm trying to get the colors to be as true as possible, and that is such a challenge. If you've worked with a camera, you know behind the scenes is such a challenge to get things perfect. But anyways, we're gonna get started with this video. I'm so excited. I've been wanting to do a video that involved you guys for a long time. I follow Allie Glines. She's who I first started seeing doing these types of videos. I'm definitely not taking credit for it. Basically, if you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen that I did a kind of like a shop my stash type of a thing. I asked you guys to pick out my makeup for me. I had so much fun with that. I had so many of you get involved, which was so awesome. So out of all of your responses, I basically just chose the product that had the most suggestions that you guys wanted the most. I think there was one or two that I had to choose because I forgot to show you, I think setting powder. I forgot to show you guys setting powder. I hope to do more videos like this in the future, so I hope that you guys like this one. I'm so excited to see the look that you put together for me, and honestly, I was really surprised by some of your choices. I didn't think that you were gonna choose those, especially the eyeshadow. I haven't used that palette in a long time, so this is going to be quite fun. Let me know what you guys think of this video, if you enjoyed it, and if you want me to do more. I think it would be super fun, so just let me know in the comments. Before we get started, really quick, of course, don't forget to subscribe. You can follow me on my social medias if you would like to, and I think that's everything. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, I had to take my sweatshirt off because I am just like boiling. I'm in the third trimester of my pregnancy, and lately it's been like hot and cold and hot and cold all day long. So anyways, we're going to start with primer. The most requested primer out of my stash was definitely the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer, but the second most popular one that you guys picked was the Smashbox Photo Finish, and I'm not surprised by this one at all, or honestly by this one. This has gained so much popularity in the last couple of years. They actually have a couple different versions of this now. I think this is the original, but I think they have a mattifying one as well. I'm really curious to try that. I might pick that up soon because this is like one of my favorites. This is just an OG. So we're gonna use both of these, and I'm so glad you picked this because this is like my favorite one. So I usually just take a little bit with my finger, and I like to put that in my T-zone, so especially on my nose, just where I have like larger pores. A little bit does go a long way, so you don't need tons of this, and I especially like to push it in to my pores. On my forehead, since I have so many wrinkles, I'll usually do circular movements, and then I will push it in after I get that product kind of distributed around. If you have large pores, this e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer is amazing. It is just so, so, so good. Then for the Smashbox Photo Finish, I'm gonna take just a small amount, and that I like to just mix in between my fingers. This is definitely a more like slinky silicone primer. It's very slippery, but it does settle in really well. So I'll first just do like really soft circular movements, and then I'll push it into the skin. And I do go over the spots that I use the Poreless Putty because why not? I do not like the feeling of primer on my fingers, so I have a towel, and I always wipe off my fingers before moving on because I don't like it. So next product, this is one that I picked. I currently only have 2 eyeshadow primers. I'm definitely on the hunt for a new, like really good one, good dependable one that'll definitely help make your eyeshadow last. Not that the 2 that I have don't do that, but I don't know, I just want a new one. But this one is a super popular one. I figured if I would have shown the ones I had that you guys would have picked this one anyways. This is the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion. And I just apply this with my fingers. This baby is so strong. He's been kicking so much lately. So we're gonna do complexion first. The foundation that you guys chose, I was surprised by this, but you guys liked the most the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Foundation. I'm honestly so shocked that this one had the most votes. There were some really good drugstore foundations in there, so I just was surprised you chose this one. This isn't my personal favorite, to be honest. I did actually intend to return this one, and I did try to return this one. I purchased this during the Sephora sale And this is too light for me, by the way. It was like middle of winter when I purchased this, so we'll definitely be bronzing this up. But I purchased this during the last Sephora sale. Sephora will be having another sale hopefully beginning of November. Our last sale was back in April, and I had been eyeing this foundation. I've heard that it's really, really good. There's a lot of people that still really rave about it, but I don't know why. It is just not my favorite. I don't feel like it makes my pores look as good as some of my other foundations do. So the thing is that when all this craziness happened in the world, that was pretty much right before the Sephora sale. So if there's something I don't like, I usually go in store to return it, but all the stores were closed. And that was also my first trimester of my pregnancy, so I was so sick. I was hardly functioning, you guys. Seriously, I was just in bed like every single day or on the couch. Like, that was my life. So by the time the stores opened again and I was feeling better and I went to go and return it, I had passed their like 60-day policy or whatever just by like, it was like 10 days. They said no to me in the store, which I was so disappointed about. So I ended up calling and they also said no to me. They said that it had passed the date, so there was nothing that they could do. And this isn't the worst foundation ever, so I wasn't super bummed, but it definitely is not a cheap foundation. Definitely more on the pricey side. I mean, it's Charlotte Tilbury's, so. But anyways, it is what it is, so I still have it. I still use it. It's just not my favorite. I change the way I do my makeup all the time, but lately my favorite routine has been to apply my foundation first with the brush, and then I like to put a little bit of product onto the sponge, so I just tap it. I usually use a glass palette, but that's in my bedroom. I forgot to grab it, so I just put it on the back of my hand. So I'm just gonna tap the product into the sponge. That way it doesn't pick up too much product from my face. And then I like to go over and just kind of smooth out everything. This also helps just push it into my pores a little bit more, or just into my skin a little bit more in general. Really smooths things over, and I just love the effect that this gives. That has been my routine as of late. Okay, I'm just gonna wipe this off the back of my hand really quick. Now we're gonna move on to concealer. The concealer that you guys chose for me, I was so not surprised by this one. This is a drugstore staple. Whenever I ask someone for a drugstore concealer recommendation, they always tell me this one. This is the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Eraser. I recently just picked up a new one and I love this one. I have noticed that it is a little bit more medium coverage. I usually use this on the days that I don't really want to wear a lot of makeup, and I just kind of noticed that I have to go in with this concealer a couple of times to get like the darker part of my under eyes covered. And then with this, I just go straight in with the sponge. This is so beautiful though. I recently tried the Maybelline Fit Me concealer because I've heard good things about that one too. You guys actually recommended that one to me. I liked it, but I really didn't love it. I felt like it creased under my eyes so fast. I really couldn't believe it. It just wasn't like the best. I'm gonna put just a tiny bit more. I don't want to put too much because my under eyes crease so easy. The wrinkle life is real, you guys. I'm only 25 and I feel like I should not have this many wrinkles yet. I think it's majority my fault because I used to own a tanning salon and I used to tan a lot and I did not always wear sunscreen, and so pretty sure that I had a lot to do with the fact that I got wrinkles so quick. Okay, I feel very pale, but I feel really good about this. So let's go ahead and put on a powder. So for powder, I was slightly surprised by this one, but also not really, because this is another one that I know a lot of people really love. A lot of these products you guys chose were ones that are super popular. I can't say that I was surprised because they're super dependable as well. That's why they're so popular. So this is the Huda Beauty Pound Cake Powder. This smells so good. I'm just gonna take a little bit of what was on the cap because that was really powdery. I'm gonna take a little bit of what was in this cap too because that also had some loose powder in it. I like to be clean and organized, so it drives me nuts when there's like loose powder. Really quick, I want to take the sponge one more time just to blend out the under eye and the forehead. My forehead has tons of wrinkles too. All right, I'm gonna set the under eye first, and then up top on my forehead, because I move my forehead so much, so I like to make sure to set those wrinkles. Also in between my brows. I look angry sometimes when I'm not. These wrinkle lines are definitely genetic because I noticed that my mom has them and a lot of my sisters have them too. When I'm concentrated or upset or anything, like I use my eyebrows a lot, and so I'll do like this, and they're starting to create wrinkles right there. So now they're starting to naturally show up. I'm trying to be more careful when I do my makeup to not go like this too much or like this too much. I do that sometimes when I focus. I'm trying to be careful not to do that just so so I don't look angry all the time. Like super bad RBF. One mistake I realized that I just made is I was going to use a cream blush and I totally forgot. Dang it. That's okay. This item wasn't actually one that was most voted on. It only had one vote to be honest with you, but I really wanted to try it. I was gonna put it underneath the blush that was the most recommend. It looks incredibly intimidating. This is the Milk Makeup Astro Glow Oil Lip Cheek Stick, I guess. So maybe I'll use this on my lips. It's like a little topper, maybe? I don't know, we'll see. But the shade is so stunning. So I was gonna use that as like a base blush, and then I was gonna use a powder on top of that. Oh shoot, and we're supposed to do cream contour. Oh my goodness. We can't now, I already powdered. I'm sorry, I feel like I failed you guys already. I seriously wanted to use this so bad, but there's no way. One that was voted on the most is actually this contour stick by Anastasia Beverly Hills. It is a really beautiful shade. It's actually more of like a cool tone brown, which is so good for contouring. You usually want to go more on the cool tone side for contouring. Bronzer is usually on the warmer side. Bronzer is like sun-kissed. Contouring is working with the shadows on your face. It does blend pretty well, but you do have to do it fairly quickly because if it sets too fast, it's just a lot more of a challenge to blend. So with that being said, there's definitely no way, especially since I just powdered, that this would go how I want it to go. So we're gonna skip using this. I should have assessed my products a little bit more before just going gung-ho with powder. What we're going to do is we're going to use this bronzer. This is another one I just grabbed from my collection myself because this is pretty much the only bronzer that I have. I have one other one, sort of. I use it as a bronzer, but it's actually technically a contour. It's just such a warm shade that I don't use it as a contour. I knew you guys would choose this one anyways because this is the butter bronzer. This is like the iconic, everybody knows about this one pretty much. So we're gonna pop this on, and this is what is going to help balance out my face so much more. This is just such a pretty bronzer. Since this video is inspired by Allie, I will mention something that she does that I always think about when I do my makeup. At the end of her routine, she always does what she calls assessing the situation. She always puts on more bronzer. So whenever I'm putting on bronzer, I always think about that, and I'm like, okay, I can always do less and work my way up to more. If you put on too much, it's way harder to blend that out than if you put on just a little bit and work your way up. And I am using this a little bit more as like a contour since we didn't put on a contour today. The foundation on my lips is driving me bananas. I feel like I look so ghostly already. I don't need my lips to be non-existent. And since I just did that, I'm gonna just grab some of my favorite ever lip balm. This is the Sugar Rush Best Bud Butter Lip Balm in the shade Peony. I usually use a special brush for my nose, but I didn't bring it because we were gonna use the cream contour. So instead, I'm just gonna take this brush and pinch it so it is flatter. And I like to kind of like push my nose down, if you can see that. It helps me to see like the bone a little bit more, and then I usually will go on the inside of that bone. I don't want to go right on it because that's just emphasizing my normal bone structure, I guess. And I like to kind of make my nose look a little smaller if I can. It's just my strategy, you guys. It might not work for everyone, but this is definitely what I like to do. And then I do a little on the outside. And then for today's look, since the foundation is pale on me, I'm actually gonna take this brush and just kind of go like this along my cheeks. There's really not a lot of product on it at this point. If you think this is absolutely pointless, it's totally fine. And I'm sure Robert Welsh would be like shaking his head at me right now. He would be like, bronzer is supposed to be placed strategically. Okay, I'm gonna be done with bronzer for now. I feel like we can always add more later. This is a product that is so popular, so I'm not surprised most of you voted for this. But this is the NARS Orgasm. This is actually just a sampler. I think I got this with my beauty rewards for Sephora one time. If you can get your hands on one of these, this is so worth it because I think this is like a $40 blush. This definitely goes a long way. I would not go purchase a full-size thing of this, mostly because I'm a deal person. They come out with stuff like this fairly frequently, and this is just so much more worth it. I think this will actually be a perfect color for the look that we're gonna do today, I think. I like to go just a little bit heavy-handed just because that's the first thing to go, but I'm also trying to be careful not to go too far into this area because this is where my big pores are, and because this does have a shimmer, it can emphasize those pores so much, so I have to be really careful if a blush has shimmer to not go too close to the inside of my face. Next step is going to be brows. I'm going to do this one off camera, but before I go, I want to show you guys what the product is. This is the Urban Decay Brow Blade. I did notice somebody said specifically to use the ink stain side, side, basically out of the pencil. I love this one so much. It is such an amazing brow pencil. It is so good. I have the shade Dark Drapes and this works really well for me. I did use this last one. My hair was mostly brown and it is a bit blonder now, so I'm not sure if it's gonna look the same or have the same like perfect match type of feeling. The ink stain is not as forgiving as the pencils, so that's why I'm gonna do this off camera. So I'll be back with my brows done. Oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. These did not turn out very good, you guys. That ink stain takes patience and practice to get right, and I definitely slipped a couple times, and the color is definitely a little darker than I remember. They look a little bit dramatic. This was the best that I gave them, and I did also put a little bit of concealer under the brow, so this is what my brows look like. Yeah, they're just a little bit dark. I need to practice more with this product. Anyways, we're gonna move on now to eyeshadow. You guys must have gotten overwhelmed with my eyeshadow stash because I only had one person vote for eyeshadow. I was so shocked. I for sure thought out of all the categories that you guys would want to vote on eyeshadow the most, but that was not the case. This is the one that was chosen. They said the little red one before the Elsa palette. There's so many. Oh, I love this one. Huda Beauty one that I'm not super into down there, which is this one. This is the Huda Beauty Ruby Obsessions. I got this last fall because I had heard such good things about Huda Beauty's Obsession palettes, and I still hear good things. Honestly, you guys, I've used this like maybe 3 times. Maybe. It's not that the colors aren't beautiful, it's that their pigment is seriously lacking. Wasn't super impressed by this palette. I wish I would have gotten a different color because I really don't use these shades that often. But anyways, we're gonna go in with this one. It looks a little bit whiter on camera, but it does have more of a pink hue. So I'm gonna put that all over the lid. And remember, we already primed with the eyeshadow primer potion. And because I have hooded eyes, I'm actually gonna work that quite high up towards the brows. Do you guys usually do eyes first or complexion first? Sometimes I'll do complexion first, sometimes I'll do eyes first. Eyes first definitely seems to kind of be the most practical, just because if there's any fallout or if you make any mistakes, then it's not like the end of the world. You take off all your makeup to start over or something like that, you know? For our next color, I'm gonna use this guy right here. It's a little bit more of like a peachy orange. I feel like this one especially just really didn't swatch well. Do you see what I mean? I don't know. I feel so underwhelmed by these. I don't feel like this is super pigmented. We're gonna just move on to our next one. So I'm gonna take this like super dark, kind of a purpley color, and I'm gonna grab it with a pencil brush so we can just place it right where we want. That one's a little bit more pigmented. I'm gonna do a little triangle just on the inside of the outer corner. And then I'm gonna grab this brush from Morphe so I can go in and blend it out. I definitely don't have the eye shape that I can make this really go like super far extended. I can do it, but because when I look straight, you would only see like a little chunk of shadow like right here. And it just would look funny. I would have to build it up all the way up on the brow bone, and I don't want to do that. So we're gonna just stick with it being inside of the inner side of the outer corner today. I guess I am kind of glad this palette was chosen just so I can get some use out of it. It's a good excuse to use some products that we don't use super often. I'm just gonna tap a little bit more in here so I can kind of layer it up, build up a bit more color. Ow. A bristle poked through to my eye. I love this brush from Morphe. It was one I got in BoxyCharm, but they're kind of pokey. These bristles are a little pokey. They blend great, but they're just more on the pokey side. It doesn't hurt on your eyelid, but it definitely hurts if you poke yourself in the eyeball. We have that shade pretty well blended out on both eyes. I'm gonna grab this one and just take a tiny, tiny bit of it and work that into the crease. I wanna try and stay a little bit below the crease if I can. I don't wanna go too high up, just to get a little bit more substance in that crease, but I still want that kind of peachy orange shade to show through. Even though these are not super bright, I'm actually still liking the way that it's looking. All right, I feel pretty good about that. Let's move on to the next step. One of these two glitters. Ooh, this one has such a pretty shift. Wow, they both have such a gorgeous shift to them. Whoa, I'm gonna do this one. I don't know if you guys can see that shift, but gorgeous. I'm gonna take a flat brush actually and go in with this middle shade. It's like a purpley pink, but it has like a gold bold shift to it. And we're gonna place that on the lid. I think this would pop even more if I had a wet brush. That's okay. I don't really want like a super foil today. I feel like I bashed this so much in the beginning. I think the shades really are pretty. It's just not a palette that I've really reached for that often. Maybe I should. Maybe I should just experiment with it a little bit more. Okay, I'm liking that. I think that's actually quite pretty. I like the subtleness of it. It's not too crazy. Let's do the lower lash line really quick. And for that, I'm gonna take an angled brush. I think I'm gonna go simple and just use this kind of peachy orange shade. And we're gonna just build that right along the lower lash line. Oh, I thought I grabbed my stubby brush, but I guess I didn't. So I'm gonna use this pencil brush that we used on the outer corner, but first I'm gonna get some of the pigment out with my color switch. And then I'll just take this to go underneath the eye and kind of buff that area out a little bit, because I did kind of a little bit of a distinct line there. So weird for me because I've been so into neutrals and fall colors. I'm very excited for Thanksgiving. How are you guys feeling? Are you not ready to let go of summer? Are you just ecstatic for fall to get here? Are you wrapped up in the pumpkin spice? I mean, it is mid-September already, so we are into fall. Kind of a last-ish step with shadow. I'm gonna take the brush we first started off with that pink shade, not adding anything on it. I'm just gonna go up at the top and kind of buff this area just a smidge. I do like to do like a little pop in the inner corner. I think what I'm gonna do is take the first shade we started off with just to help brighten the inner corner a bit. And I'm just using a little tiny pencil brush to do that. It does have a pink hue, so it's not taking away from the like pinky look that we have going on, but it's definitely adding a little bit of brightness. Moving on, I asked you guys specifically if you wanted me to wear eyeliner or not. I don't personally wear eyeliner all that much these days. I more so have just been taking a angled brush or a little pencil brush and doing like eyeliner with eyeshadow. But you guys said yes, you wanted me to use an eyeliner, and you chose the Stila Stay All Day waterproof liquid eyeliner. So we're gonna use this today, but I'm gonna do it off camera because I'm not super skilled with eyeliner. Hooded eyes problems, seriously. So I'll be right back. All right, so liner is on. I also decided to put on just my top lashes with the mascara. The one you guys voted on, seriously not surprised. This is like a #1 drugstore mascara pretty much, but this is the L'Oreal Lash Paradise. Basically a dupe for the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. This will be featured in my mascara video that I'm making. I already have my thoughts on this, but I'm gonna wait to share it with you till the video. But this is definitely a super popular one, so I'm not surprised you guys chose this. Let's move into lips. This is another category I think you guys were overwhelmed with because there were only a couple entries for this. One recommendation was just a pinky nude, and then another recommendation was just ColourPop in general. Next time I think I'll try to like spread them out more or something like that, or maybe just have you guys recommend some and maybe I'll just go out and buy them. I don't know, but this one is the ColourPop Lippy Pencil in the shade Oh Snap. This is such a good mauve. Pinky nude basically kind of translated to me to mauve. That's kind of what mauve is it's like a pinky nude. This is actually one of the first, if not the first, lippy pencil I purchased from ColourPop, and this is what started my obsession with their lip products. It's so creamy, yet you can be defined. It is amazing. Let's go ahead and put on the lippy stick. I decided to choose that same shade in Oh Snap since you guys just said ColourPop there wasn't a specific color chosen, so I figured let's just match this up. Yeah, I think this goes so pretty with the eyes. These lippy sticks are just so creamy. And when they start to fade, like even if you eat food and whatnot, they kind of just blur off. It's not like a dramatic, like, oh man, like you're missing a lot of your lipstick. I don't know, it's weird. They kind of just slowly fade, if that makes sense. I told you guys at the beginning, I want to try this. So I think I'm going to just put some on my finger. I'm just gonna tap it. Whatever, screw it. Let's just do the whole thing. Talk about a lip oil. Not really showing up. I'm gonna clean this off because I feel like I got a lot of lipstick on that. Yeah, that's like super, super subtle. Weird, it didn't really show up much at all. Maybe we'll try it in another video. If you guys wanna see this again, let me know. Maybe we'll try it in a more like neutral look, or I can just show you what it looks like on like a random day or something. But I definitely wanna put on gloss. So you guys chose this one. This is the Buxom White Russian. This is an insanely popular shade for Buxom's like plumping glosses. I don't feel like they super plump. They add a little bit of a cooling, like tingling effect. Emphasis on the cooling, like your lips do feel really cold. I think it's more of just a sensation to make it feel like it's working, but The shade is so pretty. It's definitely like a creamy, almost like a creamy pink. I told you I didn't put on any mascara under my lashes. My lashes are fairly long and because of my eye shape, my lashes definitely touch my brow bone. So I was just in bed editing and I realized what I was just about to explain did not make sense when I explained it, and I even messed up some words, so I thought I would just pop on really quick and explain it here. Basically, if I put on mascara upper and lower and then do my setting spray, because my lashes touch my brow bone on the top and they're also long on the bottom, if I look up at all, it'll transfer to my brow bone, and if I look down at all, it transfers to my under eye. So I usually put on the setting spray beforehand, or I'll only do the upper lashes and then just be careful not to look up until it dries, and then I'll put on the lower lashes. Hope that makes sense. I'm gonna use this one from Ciate London. This is their Everyday Vacay. It's actually like a luminous setting mist. What? I know, crazy. If you've been watching me for a while, you know like I have oily skin. I try to stay away from more luminous things, but I got this in a BoxyCharm. I originally posted it on Facebook. Usually my items sell on Facebook. This one wasn't selling, and so I figured, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna try it. I loved it. It worked so good and my skin really loved it. The mist isn't the best ever. It does squirt at you just a little tiny bit, but it smells good. It makes my skin look good. We're gonna use it today. Well, maybe it doesn't smell the best. It smells like Malibu. I think I said that in my BoxyCharm video, that this smells like Malibu alcohol. This was another category I completely, oh, I just looked up. Uh-oh. This was another category I just totally forgot to show you guys. I just thought it would be fun to use this today. Okay, that's just about settled, so I'm gonna take my sponge and just go back over everything just to mesh it all together, push it back into my skin. My nose already was starting to get oily, so we're gonna fix that problem by just pushing that setting spray into the skin. Dang, you guys, this actually turned out pretty good. You guys are good pickers. I'm gonna go finish up my lower lashes and then we'll be right back. Okay, we're all done. This is the finished look. Oh, thank you guys so much for picking my makeup for me. This was so much fun. I don't know if I've ever put this particular combo together, and it actually was really fun using this palette, even though it's not my favorite. I do have it in my collection, so I should be using it. This was such a perfect excuse. So thank you so much to Margaret for picking this. I hope you enjoyed this. It was so much fun involving you and just doing a makeup video in general. I feel like this really turned out so good, and it's actually quite fun to wear a little bit of red. I've been feeling the Christmas vibes lately, so this is fun. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, let me know if you would like to see more videos like this in the future. Don't forget to subscribe, ring the bell so you can be notified of future videos, and follow me on social media if you would like to as well, especially Instagram if you want to be involved in these videos. Instagram is where I do them, so hope to see you there, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye guys. Mwah.